All right, it is currently 7:02 on Monday, June 6th. I see that 4 of our 4 commissioners are here, and I call the meeting. This is a special meeting to interview board candidates for the open board seat vacated by Martha Gaines. First, I'd like to make a motion to hold the special meeting through Zoom in light of the governor's COVID-19 disaster proclamation. It would be impractical to do so in person. And this has been publicized, and it's been our common practice. I don't see any citizens here. Moving on to citizen comment. Is there anybody here I'm not aware of? Or Natalie, do you know of any citizen comments?
No.
Okay. So it looks like Natalie is getting in touch with Diana. And then of the 4 commissioners, what would you like to see out of this process and timeline? So Debbie, you reached out to me and said you were uncomfortable having a vote tonight.
Yes, I am. I'd like to make sure that these candidates have either come to a meeting in the past or more than one meeting, or at least been to a Zoom meeting before they make a final decision and we make a decision. Now, if they have, great, but I don't think they have.
Okay, so that'll be an easy question to ask. Assuming worst case scenario, both candidates answer no, or one of 2 answers no, how would you like to proceed?
If one answers no?
I think if either answers no, like what opportunity you want to give the candidates?
I want him to come to the next meeting.
Okay.
At least.
So what about if they watched a Zoom video meeting?
Well, then I'll believe them, if they say they have.
Okay, but I mean, they also could do that on their own time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are recorded, so that would assuage your concerns.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll talk to both candidates about that. I don't think it's unreasonable. That said, I would like to get a commissioner appointed as soon as possible. My biggest concern is quorum issues.
My biggest concern is that they're good candidates.
Sure. I mean, that's I guess I redact. My biggest concern is they're good candidates. But this is a 10-month appointment. Sounds to me like they're not going to be sworn in for the June meeting. Best case scenario, then they would be sworn in prior to the July meeting. And this is only an appointment that goes through.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't know when we needed to get a commissioner earlier. But this is the situation that we're in, and I just want to make sure that they know what they're getting into.
Sure. And I gotta say, I'm a little less I totally follow your reasoning. I'm a little less concerned because of the time commitment. This isn't a 6-year commitment. This is a 10-month commitment.
Yeah, but they'll essentially they could possibly be a vote breaker. So I think it's really important.
I do too, but I think it's important that we fill the seat.
That we what?
That we fill the seat.
Yeah, we can fill the seat with anybody. I'm not willing to do that. I want to fill the seat with somebody that I'm comfortable with.
Okay, well, that's what this process is for. Natalie, have you heard from Diana or Mark?
Yes, Diana is having some computer problems, so she'll be here in just a moment.
Great.
And I spoke to Mark, and he's all set for 7:30.
Great. So I was thinking of doing this similar to we did during the last process, which all 4 of us were here for, giving candidates about 15 minutes each, giving them all of the same questions, which were sent out to the commissioners, and also same as the last process, we're going to add on to that, Debbie, I guess a request would they be willing to attend the next board meeting this Thursday, or watch a complete board meeting prior to the appointment? All right, so I think we'll just wait for Diana then. Take a quick break. Oh.
There. Hello?
Hello,
Hi. There
Hi.
you There I
Diana.
am. Yeah, I'm sorry. It says Donovan Mixon because I'm on his computer.
no problem.
Yeah.
My name is Matt Mitchell, and with us tonight are Matt Rogers, Debbie Braun, and Mick Morrell.
Okay,
The four of us currently constitute the Ridgeville Board of Commissioners.
great.
We thank you for your interest and in that board. It's my understanding that this appointment is going to last until the next election, which will be next spring,
Mhm.
spring 2023. And so that's the commitment we're asking for. And it's a minimum of one board meeting a month. We meet this first Thursday. We just recently changed our start time to 7 o'clock, and it usually lasts a couple hours.
Okay.
Diana, have you ever attended a Ridgeville board meeting before?
No, not a Ridgeville board meeting. No, I haven't.
Uh,
I've lived in Ridgeville for about 40 years.
Okay. Well, let's just jump right into it. We have 4 questions. My understanding that Natalie sent those to you.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
This is going to be, casual. We're going to allot about 15 minutes for the entire interview. Go through those 4 questions. Commissioners might have some follow-up questions. There's one other candidate as of right now, and we're going to interview them tonight as well. We'll ask them the same 4 questions.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question is, what do you know about the Ridgeville Park District, and what previous involvement have you had with programs, events, staff, etc.?
Well, having lived in Ridgeville for many years, I know I've known about it. I recently learned that it was not a part of Evanston's programs. I've taken a few classes there with Sharon in Utah and with Laura Novak. And I used to go to the farmer's market. My daughter-in-law has done some work with you with your murals on your benches. And when my son was young, he played there. My husband played there last year too, as a musician in your parks.
Okay. All right. The next question is, or any other commissioners have any follow-up questions on that?
No, I just didn't apologize for being late. I'm very sorry. I just thought it was 7:30, so I'm sorry.
We're in good time. So the second question, have you ever served on a board before? And if not, in what other capacities have you served as part of a team? Can you give us an example of that?
Well, I'm on a board now, Her Story Theater. We meet 4 times a year, and I answered to a board for 14 years. I was the head of a 501c3, which was a part of Fourth Presbyterian Church downtown. And the board, we met monthly, and I was there through all of the changes and through all of our meetings, and working with the budget, trying to figure out fundraising. And then they worked with me with goals, which is the same thing that I do with this Her Story Theater.
Okay. And can you give an example of working as part of a team?
Well, when I was working at Fourth Presbyterian Church, I was part of a team of 5 or 6 other people. We were all part of the 501c3 under an executive director. There was a homeless program, a tutoring program, a job program, a health program, and mine. And mine was an outreach program, and I did programming into Cabrini Green for 14 years. And then I worked in the schools as a member of those teams in each of the 4 there, as we created a fine arts festival at the end of the year. And then before that, I was a part of a team when I taught at Franklin Fine Arts Center, where we taught music, dance, art, piano, and drama. And we all worked together. So I've worked in teams for many, many years.
Great. All right, moving on. What is your number one goal what would be your number one goal as a Ridgeville Park District Commissioner, short-term and long-term?
Well, the short term is to understand what the role of the board is and what our goals are, and to work with the other members on the team as questions come up, to talk about them, figure out what's good, what's bad, discuss. I can use my strengths, my working life, to bring to working on a board.
That's great. And you want to elaborate on your strengths? That would be.
My strengths are working with people. As I said, I worked in Cabrini Green, and I was an outside vendor coming into the schools, and that's not always a good place to be. But I did it quite well. I was able to develop a team every year, and we all worked together to create this project, the Fine Arts Festival, at the end of the year. And it was a very successful program because we brought kids together from different sides of Division Street. And generally, you're not supposed to do that because there's different gangs on either side. But when we brought them together in a community way, working in the arts, we never had any problems. And I did that for 14 years. Yeah, and I'm a pretty good facilitator too. I've worked in groups that way.
Great, thank you. And then our final question is, do you believe you can fully meet the requirements of a Ridgeville Park District Commissioner and be a positive ambassador for the Park District?
I wouldn't have applied if I didn't. You know, I feel like I have a lot to offer at this point in my life, especially in my community. And so when I heard about it, I know there have been issues at Ridgeville in the past. I'm not afraid of, issues that might come up. And I just feel I have, as a community member for so long, my son and now my stepson and my grandson all play at 3 blocks down at the Firehouse Park. And we're always out there, and we attend all of your concerts that you've had out in the parks, which were really nice the last few years, especially with COVID.
Sure. Well, that's great. So those are our 4 questions. I guess one thing, concern of the board is if you haven't attended a board meeting, would you be willing to do so? We have an upcoming board meeting this Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. And
Yes.
Okay, that would be great. We also record all our meetings if you wanted to watch a meeting or more than one prior to that. But you think this Thursday would work for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes,
That would be
I
great.
certainly can do that. Where is Mick?
He's here. My guess is he's got a babe in arms. He's trying
Okay.
to not distract us.
Yeah, his parents live 2 doors down from me.
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Just we're putting the kids down. I'm listening to everything, but
Okay.
I just traded out the little one for this one. So,
Oh.
but
Has his
we're
hands
here.
full. He's a multitasker.
Yep. No,
Um,
no. Thanks for being here, and we appreciate everybody's interest and support of Ridgeville. So
Yeah,
um,
it's a great little community.
It is.
It's for our community. It's really very, very nice considering it makes us a community.
Yeah.
The Park District
I
does.
love the Park District. Commissioner Rogers and Ron, do you have any follow-up questions?
No, I don't think so. I'd just be interested to know how you feel after you see the meetings and that's it.
I don't know what you're referring to, but I was on a board. Well, I had a board member when I was working who I think there were eight people, and she was exceedingly disapproving of it. And I finally got to the point where I realized it had nothing to do with what I was doing. It was just, there was a lot of negativity about our working. And so I had to sit through that and not manipulate, but move my way around that. Thankfully, I had support from other board members. And so I was able to work with her.
And I just, it sounds great, but I want you to understand that there isn't a lot of work, like hands-on work or planning, that's more in the program field. So I just want to make sure that you get a real good feel for what you'd be doing on the board. It's not really working with the public or plan, that kind of stuff. And I just want to make sure that, so I think that's.
So when you say programming, does the board direct the programming? Are you?
No, we
is
have
the
a
board in
program
charge?
director.
We have an executive director and a program director. Program director answers to the executive director. The executive director answers to the board.
The board.
And Natalie. And
Go
what is
ahead.
Natalie?
The program director.
The program director. Okay. So then the role of the board is to work with Natalie.
It's to do oversight of the Park District, to help set the budget and vote on it. It's not really the fun stuff. It's not.
I agree with Commissioner Braun. It's an oversight role, and I think the most important thing we do is create a budget. We also create a tax levy to the entire district that kind of comes off of that budget. We've been working with our executive director for more than 30 years, and we've had consistency with our treasurer, who's great, and our attorney. And so they work with us, work with the board to get that budget passed. Our calendar year runs from July 1st through June 30th. And so we're coming up to the end of our fiscal year.
Okay.
And we'll start a new fiscal year with a new budget.
Okay.
And that's some kind of the most important work we're doing over the next couple of months. Also, Ridgeville gets busy in summer, so that Natalie and Brian have their hands full.
And Brian is the executive director.
Yes. So I just wanted you to make sure, I wanted to make sure you understood that, because you have a lot of strengths, but I'm not sure those strengths would be used well on the board.
Okay.
But I want you to know that, and going in.
So we haven't, as commissioners, kind of fully fleshed out this process. I think we have an agreement. We're going to interview both candidates tonight. We would like both candidates to have attended at least one board meeting. And then I think, can we reach out to you on Friday and let you know where we're at?
Okay. And is the board meeting virtual?
It is. It'll be a Zoom meeting this month. And we'll see going forward.
All right.
We've been on Zoom since COVID, kind of following legal advice and state of Illinois guidelines to be conforming to the Open Meetings Act. So through this month, we're fine being on Zoom, and then we'll have to reevaluate whether we're going to go back in person or not.
So it's really an oversight board. That's what you're saying.
It's an elected board. You're going to, the seat is for an appointed position. And yes, I think the most important things is oversight of the executive director and setting the budget.
Good.
And one thing that will be unique going through this year is we'll be conducting a search for a new executive director. So that will be a key thing to happen over the next year, roughly. So that will be a very important part of this role as well, is in helping set up that position, interview for that position, and get that person off to a strong start.
And the transition from the executive director we've had for more than 30 years to a new person, it's going to be, I agree, it's going to be some of the biggest work that this board is going to do over the next year. And if you come on board, you'll be a part of it.
Well, that sounds interesting. Will there be a search? Will you hire a search program
So
to?
you know what, it's on the agenda for our board meeting this coming Thursday. I think we'll have a lot more answers after that. And it's the board's discretion. So that'll be a decision we have as a board will have to make. And I think we're gonna hopefully try to get a calendar it out of the hiring process, the search process, interview process, transition process.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in that. Yes.
that's great. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting time.
And so would my dog.
All right, does anybody have anything else?
Well, I'm sorry I was late, but I'm glad to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
You as well. So we'll look
Yeah,
forward
you
to
too.
seeing you Thursday night,
Thursday night.
and I'll reach out, or the board will reach out on Friday to check see where we're at. All right.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Teddy.
All right. And Natalie, I don't know if you're in communication with Mark, but I'd be happy to start with him at 7:30 or at any time.
I can send him a quick text that you're ready now.
Yeah, just whenever he's ready.
All right, he's going to hop on right now.
Great, thank you. Hello, Mark.
Hi, this is Mark Carlin, board applicant.
Welcome. My name is Matt Mitchell. I'm the president of the Board of Commissioners of Ridgeville Park District. And with us tonight, we have Commissioner Matt Rogers, Commissioner Debbie Braun, Commissioner Mick Morrell,
Hi.
as well as Ms. Natalie Salee as our program director, as well as the secretary, corporate secretary of the board. So thank you for your interest. Thank you for joining us tonight. We envision this as a pretty short and sweet informal interview. We have 4 or 5 questions for you, which I believe Natalie sent you. We'll try to get it done in about 15 minutes. And before we start, do you have any questions for us?
I assume this is a position being appointed because someone resigned.
It is. So Martha Gaines was a commissioner and she moved out of the district, which so she lost her eligibility. And so she resigned. And the board has 5 seats, and under the state law, the remaining 4 members of the board will appoint the new commissioner until the next municipal election, which is going to be next spring in April. So that's what the commitment is for, is to be on the Board of Commissioners until next April. And we meet at a minimum of once a month on the first Thursday at 7 p.m. And we usually meet for a couple of hours. Every once in a while we'll have a special meeting like this as things come up, as well as if there's projects you want to get involved in.
There's a meeting on a Thursday then, Matthew, at 7:30, is that right?
There is. I think we're going to start at 7 o'clock this month. We have been starting at 7:30, and we're trying to push that back to get the commissioners to bed early if we go well. So that's one question for you. Have you ever attended a Ridgeville Park District board meeting before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I've been on probably about 15 boards, all of them not for profit, a lot of them in the anti-violence area. In the 80s and 90s, I was the chairman or president of the Illinois Council Against Handgun Violence. And for a while, I had a communications firm that.
I'm gonna just interrupt you just for a minute. I'm happy to have you give a brief introduction before we start. But just to follow up, would you be willing to attend our Thursday evening?
Yes.
Board meeting this week?
Sure.
Okay, that would be great. One of the concerns of the board is that you know what you're getting into. And
well, I'd like to find out, yeah.
Seeing how we work and kind of what you can expect. So that would be great if as part of this, if we could see you Thursday evening. We interviewed one other candidate this evening. The board is going to meet privately tonight, and then we'll see you on Thursday, and then we'll reach back out to you on Friday and let you know where we're at.
Okay, sounds good.
So I interrupted you when you were telling us about yourself. Do you want to give us a little more of a brief introduction?
So I was president and chairman of the Illinois Council Against Handgun Violence for about 20 years and did a couple presidential events. President Clinton at the time, in his prepared remarks at a police district in Chicago, honored me for my, he said, long and often lonely struggle against gun violence, which obviously has not halted. If anything, it's become increasingly more urgent. But I don't bring those other commitments, those other passions to the board. I would work based on what the needs of the Ridgeville Park District Board is, not any agenda I bring to it.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into the questions then. And so the first one is, what do you know about the Ridgeville Park District? And what previous involvement have you had with programs, events, and staff, et cetera?
Okay, one, the district I know from the way it's drawn in the that first floor room in the house. I know I'm in the district at 442 Elmwood, about 2 blocks away. I did take a yoga class with Karen Stone, is it? And my wife and I have attended a number of the plays that have been there. So what was the rest of the question?
What do you know about the Ridgeville Park District?
Yeah, so I understand the distinction that it is its own governing board within the city of Evanston and the Park District of Evanston. And it's sort of, I guess you could say, like Greenland to Denmark. It's like the Ridgeville Park District Board to the Evanston Park District. So that's what I know.
Great. And I know you've answered some of this, but I want to ask you again, have you ever served on a board before? And if not, can you give us other capacities where you've served as part of a team?
I've served on many boards in many capacities, from chairman to just member of the board.
And you want to give us some examples of times you've worked as part of a team?
Worked to start a team?
Worked as part of a team.
Oh, as part of a team. Well, with the Illinois Council Against Handgun Violence as chairman, I had to head several different committees and inspire people to volunteer. I think that's the biggest challenge, is that now after COVID, a lot of people are reassessing how they use their time. But when the economy comes back, I think there's going to be a big volunteer crunch again. And I'm semi-retired at this point, and so I have time. And I thought this would be a fruitful use of my skills.
That's great. Thank you. The next question is, what is your number one goal as a Ridgeville Park District Commissioner, both short-term and long-term?
I don't want to make up a goal like I'm a candidate for public office. I would have to see what you have in material in terms of what people perceive the needs as being. I don't think you've accomplished anything if you haven't met the needs of the constituents. So I don't come in sword in hand and a holy grail or anything like that. I would say doing the best job possible for the people we serve.
Right. And our final question is, do you believe you can fully meet the requirements of a Ridgeville Park District Commissioner and be a positive ambassador for the Park District?
Well, I'm 70 and I don't have any criminal record. I don't know what to say. I kind of been and covered a lot of ground and been to a lot of different rodeos. And I think that the answer would be yes. I can't imagine what would be embarrassing. I have good neighbor relations too, which counts for something. And so, yes, the answer to that is yes. I should just add, because this could factor into your consideration, that I will not be in town the entire month of August. Will be my wife and I in Portland. We have a grandson there who's just turned 2, so we're going to spend a month there.
Exciting. Great, thank you for that. We'll factor that in. Is there anything else from any other commissioner? Any follow-up questions or ideas you'd like to share?
I think I will get pretty much a hold of them on Thursday because I'm not driving them. They're being driven by the board and the constituents. So I'll get a better idea of what the priorities are there.
And then my next question is for the rest of the commissioners, Commissioner Rogers, Braun, and Morel. Do you have any follow-up questions for Mr. Carlin?
I just wanted to clarify, Mr. Carlin, that being away for the month of August wouldn't really be a problem in the decision making, because our meeting will probably be on Zoom.
Right.
And if, so that won't be a factor in determining. Just so
Yeah,
you
I've
know.
seen that in action because when we've been in Portland for a long time before, my wife is an appointed trustee of the Evanston Public Library, and she does Zoom calls from Portland for the library board meetings. I think she's also on the equitable task force of the library. I don't know if she holds whether she's just on or she holds a position on it.
That's great. I agree with Commissioner Braun. That shouldn't be a deal breaker. And if you were able to, if you were on the board and able to call in, that would be great. But we'll get to that step when we get to that step. So as of right now, I think we are going to meet. The remaining board members are going to meet privately this evening. We're going to have an open board meeting on Thursday. It would be great if you can attend. And
Is that in person?
It is not. It's also going to be on Zoom.
Oh, it's on Zoom. Okay.
Um,
So Natalie would send me the URL, or is it the same?
I'll work with Natalie and we'll for sure send you the agenda that has the Zoom link on it.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll plan on checking in with you again on Friday.
Okay.
Let you know where we're at.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Mr.
Hey,
Carlin.
hey, Mark, just so you know, on the Ridgeville website, if you go under the governance tab, you can find all the minutes and the agendas from previous meetings, as well as the link for Thursday's meeting is also there on the website.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
letting me know.
You bet. Thanks for your time.
And
Thank you.
also we have all the videos of prior board meetings as well, if you wanted to go back and look
Wow.
at board meetings.
Okay. Really get granular.
There are,
Okay.
everything's public, and that's part of what we mean to be is transparent and answerable to the public. So we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. And good night to all of you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, I'd like to move to recess into executive session. I don't think we need a roll call. We can just do it and then come back. Natalie, you're going to join us?
Do you want me to join you?
Could you just to start at least?
Sure. Do we need a vote to go into executive session? I think we do.
Okay.
Matt Mitchell made the motion. I heard we need a second, and I can do roll call.
I'll second. Rogers.
Okay. And we'll do roll call. Braun,
Yes.
Morel,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Great.
Recall the main meeting to order. We're back from executive session with all four of the same commissioners. We had a positive discussion and talked about our progress going forward. Both candidates we interviewed tonight are going to attend the Thursday meeting. We're going to follow up with them. If they're still interested, we're going to set a second round of interviews, short interviews. We have a tentative date that all the commissioners are available for, which is June 27th at 7 p.m. We're going to try to be brief. We will keep the search open if there's other candidates in between now and then that meet all of the other requirements. We're open to considering them as well. And we would, as a board, like to swear in the next commissioner ideally at the July meeting. Anybody, any other commissioners have anything to add? All right, I move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it. No,
All in favor? We
I,
do roll call.
you don't have to roll call it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Aye.
Well,
Thanks,
Thursday.
All right, we'll see you Thursday.
thank you.
Bye.